Caitlin Clark surrounded by a bunch of fools. Kelly, Amber, Stephanie White, you guys are clowns. And luckily for you, Caitlin Clark is part of your clown show.
Something has clearly gone wrong in Indiana, and fans are no longer staying quiet about it. An analyst has openly criticized the front office in a way that few expected, and the situation is now looking even more troubling. This isn't just ordinary criticism. It feels emotional, chaotic, and frankly embarrassing for the organization. At this point, people are questioning whether the front office is actually supporting Caitlin Clark or holding her back. Once again, the same concerns are resurfacing, but this time they're getting louder with every passing moment. It's no longer just social media frustration. Now, public figures are stepping in and saying that the situation around Caitlin Clark simply doesn't add up. When an expert begins speaking out so strongly, it suggests there may be deeper issues happening behind the scenes.
Kelly Crossgolf calling Raven Johnson to let her know she's gonna get drafted, giggling like a bunch of little girls whose best friend just got to the playground. Ooh, I'm so happy you're here. Hee hee hee. Disgusting. Stephanie White talking about what a win.
This didn't come out of nowhere. It's been building for some time now. Each decision involving Stephanie White and Amber Cox has only intensified the same underlying question. What is the actual plan here? From the outside, it doesn't come across as a clear strategy. Instead, it looks like a mix of uncertainty and poor alignment. The situation feels even more confusing when you consider the presence of one of the sport's biggest stars. This isn't just a solid player or an emerging talent. We're talking about someone who drives attention, ticket sales, and revenue for the entire league. Yet, some of the decisions being made appear to work against that impact rather than support it. That frustration boiled over after the team drafted Raven Johnson. The front office's reaction, smiling and celebrating as if everything had gone perfectly, only added to the backlash. While they seemed satisfied with the outcome, many fans were left questioning whether they had just witnessed a major misstep unfolding in real time.
Johnson is a winner. Oh. What'd she score? 5 points in the last 2 national championships game? Oh yeah, what a real winner. She was on a winning team. Is Nick Young a winner? Nick Young was on Golden State Warriors. Is Nick Young a winner? Do you get Nick Young because you want to bring a winning mentality to your franchise? No, you don't. The way they're raving about Ravens defense, you'd think this is Kawhi Leonard. You'd think this is Tony Allen, Bruce Bowen in the flesh, the way they talk about Raven Johnson's defense.
To be honest, this situation feels like it's gone beyond just basketball. The way things have unfolded comes across as out of touch. With the existing history and tension already surrounding the team, instead of easing concerns, the decisions seem to have added more fuel to the fire, and then there's surprise when backlash follows. That's when an analyst stepped in with direct, unfiltered criticism. No softened language, no attempts to downplay it, just a blunt assessment of what's happening. The core message was that it looks like poor management, with decisions driven more by ego and the desire to outsmart others than by common sense. The simplest solution, according to that perspective, should be obvious. Build around your best player. It shouldn't be complicated. Instead, the messaging keeps leaning on ideas like versatility, multiple options, and different lineup looks. While that sounds good in theory and in interviews, it creates confusion in practice, leading to too many overlapping roles and not enough clear direction on the court.
You gotta do something, Herb Simon. Whoever in the Simon family is in control, you have to do something. Because this is getting ridiculous. Now we have Stephanie White, Amber Cox, Kelly Crossgolf calling Raven Johnson to let her know she's gonna get drafted, giggling like a bunch of little girls whose best friend just got to the playground. Ooh, I'm so happy you're here. Hee hee hee. Disgusting. Stephanie White talking about what a winner Raven Johnson is. A winner. Oh. What'd she score? 5 points in the last 2 national championships game? Oh yeah, what a real winner. She was on a winning team. Is Nick Young a winner? Nick Young was on Golden State Warriors. Is Nick Young a winner?
Then there's the biggest concern of all, the idea of reducing Caitlin Clark's role as the primary ball handler. That's where a lot of fans really started pushing back, because it doesn't just look like a questionable adjustment. It looks like a misunderstanding of how the team is supposed to function. When you have a clear lead playmaker, the usual approach is to build the offense around her strengths, not shift her into something unfamiliar just to force a system into place. That's generally how successful teams are structured. But from the outside, it feels like the opposite is happening here, almost as if the system is being prioritized over the player. That's part of why some people are using such strong language to describe it, not necessarily out of personal criticism toward the coach or the organization, but because the direction seems off. On top of that, the lineup decisions are adding to the confusion. Different guard combinations, inconsistent rotations, and situations where top players aren't even sharing the floor together make it harder to see any clear identity. Instead of looking like intentional creativity, it comes across more like a lack of cohesion and clarity.
In case you guys didn't know. Stephanie White, of course. Wouldn't be Stephanie White if we're not talking about Caitlin Clark off ball. CC playing off ball to Raven Johnson. Folks, and it's grossing me out thinking about this. We're going to see a lineup with Raven Johnson, Ty Harris, Kelsey Mitchell, and Caitlin Clark playing the four. Just wait for it. We're going to see it. We're going to see a lineup with Raven Johnson, Ty Harris, Maisha Hines-Allen.
Fans aren't oblivious. They can see what's happening, and they respond when decisions don't seem to make sense. And the reactions have been loud. Now, when you factor in contract discussions and reports of big money being committed alongside talk of resting players and shifting roles, it raises even more questions. At that point, it's no longer just about on-court strategy. It becomes about priorities. Who is this team actually being built for? From an outside perspective, it doesn't appear fully centered around Caitlin Clark, and that's where the confusion starts for many fans. When you have a player generating so much attention and visibility, people expect the roster moves and decisions to reflect that. Instead, the direction being taken doesn't always seem aligned with that expectation. So when analysts publicly raise those concerns, it carries more weight. It's no longer just frustrated fans online. It becomes a broader conversation about whether the situation actually makes sense. And once that narrative forms, people start linking everything together. Interviews, rotations, draft decisions, and lineup choices. A pattern begins to emerge, and for many, it doesn't look positive for the front office. Rather than appearing confident and coordinated, the team can come across as inconsistent or uncertain. And instead of building trust, that perception risks eroding it. That's why the reaction has been so strong. It feels less like one isolated decision and more like a continuing trend. And to critics, the frustrating part is that it feels avoidable. The argument is that things could be simpler. Lean into your star, build coherently around her strengths, and avoid overcomplicating the structure. Instead, there's a growing sense of mixed messaging. Each time Stephanie White speaks, it sometimes sounds like she's describing a different version of the team than what fans are seeing on the court. Terms like balance, flexibility, and multiple ball handlers sound reasonable in theory, but the concern is what happens in practice. Because when everything is spread out, it can end up diluting what makes the team most effective. Right now, the main concern for fans is Caitlin Clark's role. Many feel the team is trying to balance the system in a way that actually reduces the impact of their best player, instead of building around her strengths. The frustration comes from the belief that Clark already creates plenty of offense, but the real issue is how the team supports her, not her ability. Because of that, every attempt to adjust her role feels unnecessary and overcomplicated, especially from the front office. Fans are also questioning recent decisions like the drafting and usage of Raven Johnson, wondering how it might affect Clark's role going forward. While some see it as part of a broader strategy, others see confusion rather than clear direction.